New York shimmered under the weight of ambition, but from the top floor of his headquarters, Darius Blackwell's gaze was locked on a different kind of storm brewing in his own backyard. Yeah, that happened. A man who'd built a luxury retail empire from the ground up was about to face a truth he thought he'd already beaten. Darius grew up in Harlem, raised by parents who worked their fingers to the bone. He knew what it meant to be overlooked, dismissed, even told straight up that people like you don't shop here. So when he built his brand, his dreamlining Fifth Avenue, Beverly Hills, Miami's most elite streets, he did it to break that cycle. Luxury wasn't supposed to be an exclusive club anymore. It was supposed to be a statement. Everyone deserved to feel like royalty, no matter their skin color or last name. But then whispers started reaching him, quiet but persistent, about Ethan Caldwell, the store manager at his Soho flagship. Rumors that certain customers, especially Black and Latino shoppers, were being treated like second-class visitors. Not blatantly, not on paper, but in the way the staff would accidentally ignore them, question them, or worse, make them uncomfortable enough to walk right out. Meanwhile, the white, wealthier clientele got the red carpet treatment, the royal welcome. Sales numbers? Ethan was crushing it. VIP clients coming back, revenue climbing. Yet the scent of something toxic lingered. Darius wasn't about profits at the expense of his principles. No, he had fought too hard to have this empire built on exclusion. So one evening, after the store was about to close, Darius slipped into jeans, a hoodie, and sneakers. Left a Rolex tucked away. No labels, no CEO armor, just himself. The boy from Harlem who once got told he didn't belong in places like this. He walked in like any other customer, eyes scanning the polished floors, gold-trimmed counters, and those busy employees all buzzing around only certain people. He picked up a sleek leather bag, one he'd helped design. No one noticed. Then Ethan appeared, tall, clean-cut, and with that smug, "I own this place" look. His eyes locked onto Darius with suspicion, arrogance, and that unmistakable disdain. "Can I help you?" Ethan asked, voice stiff like he was sizing up a threat. "Just admiring this bag," Darius said calmly, watching Ethan barely glance at it. "That's a high-ticket item. Just making sure you're aware," Ethan said, smirking. "We try to avoid unnecessary handling." Darius nodded slowly and set the bag down gently. "Understood." Then came a kicker. Ethan stood his ground. "If you're just browsing, I may have to ask you to leave." Not a word from the staff. Just cold stares. No one stepped in. No one stopped it. And that sting, the one Darius had carried for years, came back sharper than ever. The store felt less like a place of business, more like a battleground, where Darius was the outsider in his own kingdom. But he didn't snap. Not then. Not yet. Anger was easy, justice took patience. The next morning, Darius showed up at headquarters, sharp in a custom navy suit. He was calm, focused, but his presence flipped the room. His assistant Lauren greeted him with news. Ethan was on his way for the regional review. Minutes later, Ethan swaggered into the boardroom, confident until his eyes landed on Darius seated at the head of the table. Blood drained from his face. "Mr. Blackwell," he stammered, suddenly less sure of himself. Darius didn't get up. "Please sit," he said flatly, folding his hands like a judge about to pass sentence. "I visited your store last night," Darius began, voice steady. "You didn't recognize me, but I recognize you." Ethan opened his mouth, but the silence hung heavy. "If there was any misunderstanding, there wasn't," Darius said, cutting through the pretense. "This company was built on the idea that luxury is for everyone," Darius continued. "You don't get to decide who belongs here." Ethan glanced toward the door, nowhere to run. "How many customers have you treated like that?" Darius leaned forward, voice low, almost a whisper. "How many walked out feeling humiliated?" The room held its breath. Then, unexpectedly, the door opened. A woman stepped in, someone Ethan didn't know, but Darius did. Her eyes locked on Ethan like a predator circling its prey. The tension shifted palpably. "Who's this?" Ethan asked, rattled. Darius only smiled, because the real reckoning was just beginning. That afternoon, Darius returned to the Soho store, but this time, he wasn't hiding behind a hoodie. He was the man who owned every display, every paycheck, every shining light in that space. He wanted Ethan and the staff ready because change was coming. The store buzzed nervously as employees scrambled to straighten displays, smoothing out their nerves like ironing wrinkles from a suit. Ethan strutted through, barking orders, trying to keep up appearances for the CEO he thought he'd impress. But the moment Darius stepped in, power shifted. The same employees who'd ignored him the night before now tripped over themselves to greet him. And Ethan's confident mask cracked the second he saw Darius in that tailored navy suit. "Mr. Blackwell," Ethan said with a forced smile, extending his hand. "We've been expecting you." Darius shook it firmly. "I wanted to see the store up close. I visited yesterday, actually." I wasn't aware," Ethan replied quickly. "No, I imagine you weren't." Darius's gaze pinned him down. "I came in as a customer. Picked up a leather bag. You approached me, remember?" Recognition hit Ethan like a freight train. His face paled. I didn't know it was you." "That's exactly the problem," Darius said quietly. "You don't need to know who someone is to treat them with respect." The room fell silent. Associates frozen mid-step, the weight of those words slicing through the air. "I built this brand to be inclusive," Darius continued. "Luxury doesn't mean exclusion. But what I saw yesterday was discrimination wrapped in a smile. You judged me by my clothes, by my skin. You assumed I didn't belong." Ethan's voice cracked. "We've had issues. We have to be cautious." "Cautious?" Darius echoed, disbelief sharp in his tone. "Is that what you call profiling your own customers?" Ethan's jaw moved, no words coming out. His carefully crafted career began to unravel before the room. "I should fire you on the spot," Darius said coldly. "But I won't. Not yet." Ethan blinked, confused. "You're staying until the end of the month," Darius said, voice firm. "You will personally greet every customer. No assumptions, no attitude. Treat each person like they walked in here wearing a crown. Slip once and you're gone." Staff watched, stunned. Ethan nodded shakily. "Yes, Mr. Blackwell. I understand." Darius glanced toward the back where Rebecca Hill, his longtime regional director, waited. "You handle that well," she said quietly. "I didn't do it for a performance," Darius muttered. "It's just exhausting. Even now, after everything I've built, I still get treated like I don't belong in my own house." Rebecca nodded. "But you reminded everyone who built this house." "And why?" Across the room, Ethan spoke politely to an elderly black woman who just entered. His posture stiff, his words rehearsed. It wasn't sincerity. It was survival. "We're launching company-wide training," Darius declared. "Bias, equity, a whole 9 yards. I want every employee to understand what this company stands for." "I'll get on it today," Rebecca replied. Darius exhaled a long, weary breath, then smirked, and Ethan. One wrong move, and he's gone. They both knew it wasn't just about Ethan. It was about a culture, a message, a new rulebook. That evening, standing again at his penthouse window overlooking Manhattan, glowing like a sea of stars, Darius felt something new: determination. Success hadn't freed him from racism, but it had given him the power to confront it. And now, he intended to use that power loudly. So what do you think? Can one man's fight really shift an entire culture? Or is this just one battle in a never-ending war? Share your thoughts, because when it comes to justice, silence isn't an option.